Hi everybody, it's Beatle Dave, your friendly neighbourhood record collector. I hope you're all doing well out there in record collecting land, in YouTube world, in the VC. This is part 4 of my David Bowie collection. So I hope you're going to enjoy it. So sit back, have a cup of tea or something. I'm going to try and make it 20 to 30 minutes long. I don't really want it to be any longer than that. So we've got up to 1974. So the first album that we're going to be looking at, I will be looking at a few notes I've made. But I will try and do it as good as I can. So the first record we're going to look at is Diamond Dogs, which was released on, 24th of May 1974, and it was originally on RCA, and you could get it on LP, music cassette and 8-track. It got to number 1 in the UK and number 5 in America. So this is the album. I must admit this is the issue, this one. Lovely but weird sort of painting into it. So that is the tracks on the back. And you open it up so it's a gatefold. And then if you look like that, that's a gatefold. Now on the originals, the first pressings from 1974, when you got this and you opened it up, you could actually see the dog's thingamajigs there, but there was airbrushed out of every other copy, as far as I know. I don't think they've ever been redone on things like this. Now, a bit of a strange album, this one. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I love all of David Bowie's albums. You've got on this, it starts off with Futureland, which goes into Diamond Dogs. You've got Sweet Thing, Candidate, Sweet Thing Reprise, and then Rebel Rebel. Side 2, you've got Rock and Roll With Me, We Are the Dead, 1984, Big Brother, Chant of the Ever Circling Skeletal Family. The thing that always amazes me about this is that this wasn't done with the Spiders. I think this album would have suited the Spiders as the backing band for this. That is no disrespect to the band that he used, but I just think that this would have been better with Mick Ronson on it and Trevor Bolder. Again, that is just my personal opinion. But the band that he did have was actually a good band. He'd got Tony Newman on drums and Ansley Dunbar on drums, who had been he replaced Woody Woodman's, didn't he? On drums. You've got Herbie Flowers on bass, and then you've got Mike Carson on keyboard. So two of them had sort of like been involved with the Spiders, haven't they? It was recorded at Olympic and Island Studios in London and Studio L Ludolf, Holland. Like I say, this is a reissue, so it is on Parlophone. Standout tracks from me on here is obviously Diamond Dogs. I quite like Sweet Thing. Rebel Rebel, obviously. Rock and Roll With Me is okay. 1984 is okay. Then the rest of the songs on it, I think, are so-so sort of songs. Originally, this was going to be like for a proposed film or theatrical production of 1984. The novel wanted, because David Bowie was trying to get the rights, wanted, and he did do the 1984 show, didn't he, as well. So it just amazes me that, you know, as fine as this album is, my personal opinion is if this would have been made with the Spiders from Mars, it would have been an even better album. But like I say, that's no disrespect to the people that played on it. I just think things like Rebel Rebel and Diamond Dogs, you know, are just calling out for Mick Ronson's guitar on it. Again, that is just my personal opinion. You probably won't agree with me. Like I say, this is a reissue. So it's on Parlophone. So it's 180 gram. But it's on lovely red vinyl, which I'd forgot this was on red vinyl. I actually forgot this was on red vinyl. Side 1. Side 2. And this is the thing that I do like about these reissues, that because this would have originally been on RCA, although it's like EMI straight Parlophone, they do it so it still sort of like looks a bit like the labels that it would have been on. Great album. You know, it's it is a fantastic album, but in my opinion it could have even been better. But it is what it is, isn't it, at the end of the day. Cheers everybody, by the way. Also in 1974, just going down a little bit, we did get a live album, which is this, David Live. This was released on the 29th of October 1974, and it actually got to number 2 in the UK and number 8 in the USA. Again, you could get on a double LP, 2 times music cassette and an 8-track. Now this is a reissue from around 2006, I think. So this isn't a double LP, this is a triple LP, but I think they've just spread songs over 3 discs instead of 2. So you do get some goodies. You get, that's like what the inner sleeves would have been, and you do get David Bowie fan club application. Wonder if you could still do this. So this is the labels. Black vinyl this time, still at 180 gram. Get it that way, Dave. I won't show you every LP because they're virtually all identical. And I don't think you get any other goodies, but you do get an inner sleeve, but they came in polyline sleeves, which is quite the thing now, isn't it, to be honest. So the track listing for this is, side A is 1984, Rebel Rebel, Moon Age Daydream. Then you get like a bit of a medley of Sweet Thing, Candidate, and then Sweet Thing Reprise. Side B is Changes, Suffragette City, Aladdin Sane, and All the Young Dudes. Side C is Cracked Actor, Rock and Roll With Me, Watch That Man, and Knock on Wood. Side D is Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, Space Oddity, and Diamond Dogs. Side E is Panic in Detroit, Big Brother, and Time. And then side F is The Width of a Circle, The Gene Genie, and Rock and Roll Suicide. Knock on Wood was actually released, taken off this and released as a single at the time, and it did do quite well in the charts. So this being a triple or bifold or whatever you call them, got to be dead careful of this, haven't I? So that is the inside. You see? And then God, this is hard to do. Then that is the back. It is actually a nice sounding LP, if sense, a live LP. Now, in the last video, we did actually feature a few live LPs, didn't we? That was recorded in 1972 and 1973, but they weren't released till many years later, where this was recorded in 1974 and was actually released in 1974. I think you can still go into certain record shops and buy this, but personally, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters whether you get this one or if you can seek out an original double LP from 1974. It is a really, really nice sounding record. The only drawback is on some of the songs he has slowed them slightly down to what he would have played them with the Spiders in 1973. But it is still an enjoyable album, and like I say, it's on 3 records, so it is worth checking out. What else we got? Everything will be alright tonight. That's another one of the inner sleeves, by the way. So it does tell you who the band are on that. He had actually got a really good band, hadn't he, on that one? Because you've got Earl Slick, Herbie Flowers, Warren Peace, Tony Newman on drums, Mike Garson is still on piano. So, yeah. I do enjoy listening to that one, really do. Then we've got Young Americans. This was released on the 7th of March 1975, and it got to number 2 in the UK and number 9 in America. Again, you could get on LP, music cassette and 8-track. A lot of fans don't like this one. I've always thought it's a cracking little album, to be honest. It's something, how can I put this, after Ziggy Stardust and Aladdin Sane and even Diamond Dogs, this is something that you probably wouldn't have thought would have come next. It's more like David Bowie, like flirting with American soul. I think that's the easiest way to put it. There's not that many songs on it. I think there's 8 songs on this, if I remember rightly. Yeah, 8 songs. So on side 1 you've got Young Americans, Win, Fascination and Right. Well, Young Americans was a massive hit, wasn't it? Win's okay, Fascination's okay, Right is okay. But to me, side 2 is the standout side. Which you'll probably guess in a minute anyway, because you've got Somebody Up There Likes Me, you've got Across the Universe, Can You Hear Me and Fame. So 2 of the tracks feature John Lennon. He plays guitar and sings backing vocals, I think, on Across the Universe. I know he plays the guitar and I think he does a bit of backing vocals. And then he co-wrote Fame with David Bowie and Carlos Alomar and does do the backing vocals on that as well. But it is a cracking little album. I think it's very, very overlooked in a lot of ways, this. It's actually in quite nice condition as well. His version of Fame, or the version of Fame, when released as a single in America, got to number 1, didn't it? You know, in the American charts, didn't get anywhere near number 1 in the UK, which is a shame. It really is a shame. Like I say, guest star John Lennon. Nice sounding album, completely different, and I think it threw a lot of his fans at the time, because I don't think they was expecting them to come out with something like this after Diamond Dogs. But he used to like doing that, didn't he? Surprising people, going in a completely opposite direction to what had been. Yeah, I do actually think it is a really, really underrated David Bowie album in a lot of ways. So check it out. If you haven't got this one, check it out. Then we've got, this is another one of David's albums where fans are a bit like that. They either love it or hate it. When I first got this album many, many years ago, I didn't particularly like it, to be honest. I thought it was actually quite long and boring, which shows how much I knew. And there's only 6 songs on it. But as time's gone on and I've grown up a little bit, I do appreciate this more, a hell of a lot more than what I used to. And I would say this would definitely be in my top 5 David Bowie albums, to be honest now. It is a cracking album, like I say, very, very, very underrated in some ways. You've got Station to Station, which goes on for about 5 hours. It doesn't, it goes on for about 8 minutes, but it is a very, very long track. But once it gets going, it's a fantastic song. You've got Golden Years, which had been a hit the year before, hadn't it? You've got Word on a Wing, a lovely song. You've got TVC15, again, a fantastic song. You've got Stay, another brilliant song. And then you've got Wild as the Wind, which was released as a single in 1980 or 1981, I think it was, and is absolutely wonderful song, done with feeling and everything. Yeah, so although there's only 6 songs on it, there probably are, in my opinion, 6 of the best later Bowie compositions, or Bowie renditions, if you want, you know, however you want to call it. I think this might be a slightly later copy. I think this might be from around 1979. You do get like an inner thing which just tells you who the people, musicians that played on it. So you got guitar, Carlos Alomar, piano, Roy Britton, drums is Dennis Davis, bass is George Murray, vocals Warren Peace, guitar is Earl Slick, And then I didn't know at the time, which shows how daft I was. This was actually, this is a still from the film The Man Who Fell to Earth. Now, if you think this came out in 1976, I'm sure The Man Who Fell to Earth wasn't released till late 1976 or early 1977. But yeah, absolutely wonderful LP. And it is one that if you know, if you're doing something on your computer and you put this down on in the background, you'd love it. You really would love it. Yeah, Station to Station, Golden Years and Word on a Wing. That is side one. So this is on a black RCA label. And then side two, you've got TVC15, Stay, and Wild as the Wind. And Wild as the Wind, which I didn't realise at the time, was actually a cover version. Lonely, 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 I feel for you. 'Cause my life is like the wind, and wild as the wind. Yeah, no, just murdered that song. Yeah, you know, this is one of those, again, which probably doesn't really get the recognition that it deserves. You know, this was when he was changing again. You know, he'd been the glam rock star, hadn't he? And then he'd been the sort of like American soul boy on Young Americans. And then with this is what he called his Thin White Duke period, didn't he? Now, a few years ago, well, I say a few years ago, about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, I can remember watching David Bowie being interviewed by somebody. I can't remember who it was. I think it was somebody like Jules Holland or somebody like that. It was like on the late night sort of like programme. And I don't know if David Bowie was taking the mickey or what, but he said he couldn't actually remember recording this album. He says he can remember the songs, but he can't actually remember recording the album. Which could be true, because at the time when he recorded this, in fact, at the time when he recorded Young Americans, this and the two albums that followed this, he was allegedly liked a drink and stuff, didn't he? And he was into drugs and stuff, wasn't he? He was into cocaine and things like that. So it probably is possible that he couldn't actually remember recording this, if you think about it that way. So if you think, if he was out of his head all the way through the recording sessions of this, how brilliant his vocal performances are, it makes you wonder, would it have been any better if he'd have been sober at the time, or would it have been worse? Because like I say, every one of those songs is a standout song. And I think every one of them could have actually been released as a single. I mean, 3 of them were, weren't they? Yeah. Well, 4 if you count Wild as the Wind. So I think Golden Years was a single, wasn't it? I think Station to Station was a single, I'm not 100% sure. TVC15 I think was a single. And then Wild as the Wind was a single a few years later, wasn't it? Cracking album, like I say, very, very underrated. Check it out if you haven't got it. Or save your pennies up and go out and buy a copy, which you can do, because I've actually got another copy of it, which is this one here. This is a reissue from 2016. So this is on Parlophone instead of RCA. Remastered heavyweight 180 gram vinyl. You do get the inner thing. You probably see better on that, you played on it. You do get a inner sleeve about copyright and everything on it, but then it came in a polylined anti-static sleeve. And this is the thing I do like about these David Bowie reissues, although they're on EMI or Parlophone, whichever, I think it's Parlophone, isn't it? They do try to make it look like it is still like resembles the old RCA labels. Side one. Side two. Amazing album, honestly. if you haven't got this one, check it out where you're not on your streaming devices, or you know, if you want to treat yourself, go out and buy it. I don't think you'll be disappointed, but having said that, a lot of people at the time didn't like it, did they? Even I didn't like it. First time I ever played this, I didn't like it. Like I say, how old was I when I first got this? I think I got this, or the first time I played this album, not necessarily this album, but the first time I ever played Station to Station was around 1979, maybe 1980. So at the time, I couldn't really appreciate it for what it was. Like I say, I actually thought it was quite a boring record to listen to at the time. But since then, I've grown up and I can appreciate it now for what it is. And I would say this is one of David Bowie's masterpieces in a lot of ways. Yes, there's not that many tracks on it, but the length of the album is still the same as an ordinary album, if that makes sense. Station to Station, Once It Gets Going, is a fantastic song. Golden Years, wonderful song. Word on a Wing is a fantastic song. TBC on 5 is just amazing, I think. Stay is a brilliant song, and then again, Wild as the Wind is a little gem in my personal opinion. So that's going to be it for today. So I hope you've enjoyed those few little albums that we've looked at. Which is your favourite out of those? They've all got the good bits, and some of them are, you know, some of them aren't quite as good as other ones. But that is the thing when you're doing something on a catalogue by someone like David Bowie, and he went from the 60s right up to the, you know, just before he died, basically recording, didn't he? There's that many albums, you're not gonna love every one of them. There'll be tracks on some albums that you like, and there'll be tracks on some albums that you don't like. Simple as that. I still think this was one of David Bowie's sort of most productive parts of his career. Diamond Dogs, Young Americans, and Station to Station. And then the three that followed it sort of like followed on the thing where he was changing from one style to another style and things like that. Always looking for the next thing, wasn't he? You know, it's just one of those things. And, you know, I hope you've enjoyed me showing you those albums. I hope I haven't missed anything out. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've missed out something along the way. I usually do. But yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you've got any comments, please feel free to send me a comment. If you've liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, because that helps with the YouTube, whatever it is, YouTube aneurysm or whatever they call it, algorithm. I still can't say it. And if you're not subscribed and you like the video, just think about subscribing, because it is free. Honestly, it's free. And although today we've been talking about David Bowie, most of the time we talk about the Beatles, but we do things from time to time on other artists as well. So I'm sure if you check some of my videos, there'll be something there that you'll like. Just a little shout out sort of thing just before I do go. Thank you to everybody that is supporting me and has been supporting me for the past, I think it's 2 years now. Thank you to everybody that is subscribing, by the way. Whether you're a new subscriber or an old subscriber, you mean the world to me, honestly, you do. Thank you to everybody that is leaving me comments and leaving me likes. I've been getting some really, really good views on some of the past few videos. They've suddenly shot up, and I've been getting quite a few new subscribers as well. So if you're a new subscriber, you know, thank you very much. And if you're an old subscriber, thank you very much. I still think I've got some amazing subscribers, I really do. And thank you to everybody that has been messaging me and, you know, asking how I am with my gout and stuff. It is getting there. So, you know, I don't want your sympathy when I'm saying things like that, but you know, when you do something like this, some of your subscribers become like your friends, even though you've never met one another, and they will ask you, well, how are you doing, you know, and things like that. And it's actually quite nice, to be honest. It really is quite nice. So that's going to be it. I hope you've all enjoyed it. And if you haven't enjoyed it, just leave me a comment and say, Dave, come on, you could have done that better. Well, Dave, yeah, that's a brilliant video. It's feedback, it's the interaction and things like that. And I love reading your comments. And at the minute, because I think I'm off work for another week now, because my leg's still not right. So if you want to leave me some comments, I can get back to you fairly quick. So remember, you are the Beatle Dave. Without you, this channel wouldn't be going, and you are doing me really, really proud. I love each and every one of you, I really do. So whatever you're doing, please stay safe. If you haven't got any of those LPs that we've been on about, check them out. You won't be surprised. Out of all the David Bowie albums I've got, I'll just say this before I go, there is not one David Bowie album I don't like. That's it. I like every one of them. Some I like more than others, obviously, and things like that, but you know, it's just one of those things. We're not even halfway through this yet, and we're on part 4, aren't we? So anyway, like I said before, peace and love and peace. Stay safe, everybody. Remember, Beatle Dave loves you all. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and if you've enjoyed the video, leave me a thumbs up. So till next time, it's ta-ra for now, my fat dogs.